Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and today we're gonna be discussing Ready to Love Season 6, Episode 11. In this particular episode, the women have the power and they're gonna be deciding which man is going to be eliminated. For me, my prediction is that Samson is gonna be the one being eliminated, but let's see. So the idea for this episode is that the women are going to introduce the men to their family members. And just based on the women discussing the men in the lounge, especially Randall, it appears as if Randall is just afraid to tell Kayla the truth, which is that he's going to go with Jamala. Like, it really is what it is. He comes across as a bit of a coward. You know, these nice guys, they never want to hurt people's feelings, but because they don't want to do it, they end up doing it anyway. So the first couple is Brandy and Mike, and she's gonna be introducing him to her, I guess, mom and dad. Let's see how that goes. So essentially, it seems as if Mike has a problem with Brandy's job. He's expressed his concern. Brandy has reassured him, if anything, I'm willing to, let you know when I'm leaving. If you still miss me or whatever, I'll fly you out to where I am. But I don't know if he really is up to it, but he says he is, so let's see how that goes. And then the thing of children. Now, when they spoke on that topic, his reaction was one of, here we go again with this uncomfortable topic. And I thought he was gonna really be honest and say he didn't want any more kids. But he said if she wants 2 more, then he's gonna end up having 5. And I'm like, I agree with the dad. He's definitely saying everything that sounds good, but I'm not sure how much of that is genuine. Because, of course, it's kind of easy to ace an interview with parents. All you have to do is say what you think the parents want you to say and what you think she wants to hear. But how is it really? And then the dad expressed his concern, and then the mom is all in for Mr. Mike. So, but overall, I don't know. I'm not too sure about Mike. I don't necessarily think he's the best catch. I actually don't think anybody on the show is a really good catch. Maybe Swayze. Maybe Swayze's not that bad, I guess. But Mike, I don't feel like he's any prize or any trophy. But I guess Brandy likes him a lot, so we shall see where that goes. Okay, first of all, we have Swayze and Kadian. Kadian is having him meet her godmother. Now, as far as I'm concerned, a godmother is like bonus mother that you get within the Catholic religion, and she kind of serves the purpose of an auntie, I suppose, and she like additional financial support or whatever the case may be. But I've never really heard somebody dating their godmother's child. That sounds weird to me. But anyway, since you're kind of like an additional mom, it's weird that you've dated her son. But anyway, she's there dressed in her full Indian garb. If I'm not mistaken, they're Trini. And Swayze comes in with PTSD because the last meeting went horribly. And let's see how this goes. So overall, the meeting did go better than it did the last time. But I feel like Kadian definitely has issues with just listening to Swayze and allowing him to say what he wants to say instead of interrupting him and, pushing him to give her the answer that she wants to hear. You always have to be calm, maintain a very poker face demeanor, because at the end of the day you are still dating, you guys are getting to know each other. I know that they obviously already like each other, and she already seen all type of Christmas cards and all type of things already, which is a trap that a lot of women always put themselves in, because it's like you see somebody, you like them, you see them as a husband, you see them as a father, you see them as, before getting to fully know who they are. And they definitely have big communication issues. But if they've fast forwarded and came together and posting all the lovey-dovey pictures on social media, I'm assuming that at least they came to an agreement of how to communicate with each other. I guess, I hope. So Suzy has an 8-year-old, and she has to really think of how she's gonna navigate that situation with the baby mama, and with just communicating as a healthy couple is concerned. If they're able to get through that, I feel like they would be a good couple. But clearly he's annoyed with her communication style, and I hope she could just at least come to a point where she can compromise and, you know, be able to communicate better with him. She's very blunt as well, which the godmother is, she knows, but I don't think Swayze really likes that as much. Maybe he likes it when it's directed towards other people, but not towards himself. I don't know if she is willing to change herself at all to make him happy, or to at least make it cordial with him. We shall see. Time will tell. Anyways, that was the meeting, and I think it kind of went fairly well. Next we have Jamala. So the mom and sister are gonna be the ones, like, basically trying to gauge Randall and how he is, who he is, if he's a good person, bad person. But based on what I'm seeing from Randall, like, he's very agreeable, so I really don't see them disliking him. But let's see how that goes. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to see, do the family members or other family members aware that in this type of show, he cannot purely focus on Jamala. Like, the nature of the show requires him to explore all of his options. Now, I do understand that people like Swayze, they've narrowed in on one person and glided through the show with no issue. People like Mike have somewhat focused on one person and glided through the show. But I think still the nature of the show is for you to explore your options. So for the sister to say, like, when other women are stepping on her toes, like, you kind of supposed to step in, I feel like that's a bit touchy, because he cannot really show the women, hey, don't do this to Jamala, because that's gonna give the other women the idea that, okay, Jamala seems to be the top priority, and they're gonna drop out. Like, he cannot navigate it in that way, you know. The most he can try to be is diplomatic, because he does have, like, two feelings to consider. As much as he places Jamala in his top, he cannot really make or say certain things to make Kayla feel like she has no chance, you know. So it's easier to tell somebody, oh, why you didn't do this, as opposed to understanding that I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, and I cannot really show my hand just yet for whatever reason. So I find the sister was a little bit unreasonable. Now, they went really straight into the whole getaway situation, and we saw how Jamala was so clingy and so territorial and so possessive over Randall. And of course, any man would, like, see it as a red flag, because technically we're dating each other, and you've already decided to, like, kind of make me yours, which is, I feel like it's the nature of women. Women love to compete. Women love to compete with each other over men, especially when other women, like, they visibly see that this is my competition, and they visibly see their competition interacting with the prize, really the man. It's like they get even more competitive, and then it becomes a situation of I need to show her that he is mine, kind of thing, which kind of it's to the relationship's detriment, because a lot of possessiveness is gonna take place, a lot of cattiness will take place, and it's not gonna make the man see you in the most positive light. But anyways, the mom came out with cue cards because I guess Jamala's dad couldn't be there, and she's ready to fire off some questions. Randall really needs to work on his communication problems, because you just simply cannot be in a relationship and not be able to communicate when something offends you or when you're not happy with a situation, like, because that's just gonna go under the rug, and then when you overflow with like unexpressed emotion, you're just gonna unleash like this unexpected, you know how do I say this unexpected barrage of feelings onto her that she never saw coming. So it's very important. But he does say that she allows him to communicate with her because she's easy to talk to. But we're gonna see how that goes. They kind of like Randall, so I guess they're open to see how he's gonna navigate the whole situation with Jamala, who, as we saw, she narrows in on people quickly, and she is ready to give her all to them even when they don't necessarily prove that they are, I wouldn't say ready, but they haven't necessarily proven that they're worthy, I guess, of that. But let's see how or what the parents truly think. Let's talk about why Jamala looks like a ghost in every single episode. Like, the way she puts on her makeup, it just looks terrible. It doesn't match her neck. It doesn't match the rest of her body. So a lot of the time she looks like she is wearing a shade that is too light for her skin. And she always just looks weird. Yeah, but I feel like overall they liked him and they are willing to see like how the relationship goes. I really agree with the parent that you need to pace yourself, because too often women go ahead of the narrative and they just make up what they think a person is in their heads, not knowing anything about them, and then get married and then realize that they married a stranger. And it's like, why didn't I know this, and why didn't I? It's because you didn't take the time. It's because you went ahead of yourself. It's because who you thought that person was a made up, assumption of what that person is, so it's really important. Charisse and her dad are meeting Samson. I'm really not looking forward to this meeting, because I already feel like Samson is going to say everything that dad wants to hear. I don't know if that is going to buy it or not. I definitely feel like Samson is not serious, or I don't even think he's into Charisse. I just feel like at this point he's playing a game, and eventually his true self is going to be revealed, and it's a matter of time before she sees it and we all see it. So let's see how this goes. This is so funny. Charisse is like, you guys are getting along way too much. Like, I thought dad would grill him, but dad is like being way too soft and lenient with this man. I already told you, I feel like he's giving me these surface answers. I'm not getting to the meat and the core of him. And you're out here being soft on him. Like, I feel like she was so irritated. And so she stepped in and she wants to, like, push things along. And it's like, that is like, what can I say? Like, I feel like he's okay. I like him. She's like, you don't know enough about him. How much can he know about him in a short space of time? But anyways, he can only go off what Samson presents to him. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, no, I want to know if he's serious about me. What is it about me? Like, he's giving all these vague answers, which I understand is frustrating. But I don't know, it seems as if instead of like trying to get your dad to do that for you, perhaps you should just come out with it and just ask him it at some point. So at some point that they're like, oh, I see yellow flags in her as well, and daddy agrees to an extent and says, yeah, because Charisse is difficult to get along with. Like, she wants what she wants. She's very stubborn essentially. So she's not easy to deal with either. And I was like, this is too funny because it's not going at all how she expected. Dad is so sick of Charisse's shit. He's like, I'm gonna give you out to anybody that shows the slightest interest in you, because you haven't brought home a man in centuries, in ages, and we don't know when we're gonna come across another man that is willing to marry you again. So this one is, so take him. That's the impression that dad gives me. Like, we're sick of your ish. I'm gonna give you off to whoever wants you. It was so funny. So yeah, that went in the opposite way of what she expected. And I do agree with Samson to a certain extent, where it's like, if you can't, I don't know if she doesn't get along with her dad, or maybe the dad disagrees with like maybe her choices or decisions or stuff like that. But I like that he was honest and he wasn't about to make her out to be this princess that has no issue, you know. And I do agree that if they have problems, like, how easy is it gonna, or difficult is it gonna be on you that is simply getting to know her? And like, other guys have stayed away from Charisse for a reason. So that should tell you something too. The fact that you go right into her, I don't know, her direction is weird, considering everybody was running in the opposite direction. So you can't be surprised if things doesn't necessarily go well for you, because like, past behavior, past situation should have alluded you to the fact that trouble would have been lying ahead. Now we have Miss Kayla, and every time, every episode, we wish that Kayla would just get a clue and leave Mike alone. But every episode she drags him along into everything he doesn't deserve to be in. During the getaway, he acted like he wasn't sure Kayla was interested in him. He didn't pay her any mind. He was all on Brandy the entire time. So after that situation, it's kind of weird for me now to see her accepting him or inviting him to meet her family, because it's like, this guy already showed you where his mind is and where he wants to be. So it's like, at this point, you're pushing things, you know, where it doesn't need to be. And she invited Randall and Mike because according to her, she sees genuine connections in both of them, which to me is hard to see, because I've never really seen much from Randall, and I've never really seen anything that makes sense from Mike. So let's see how this goes. So they start with Mike first, and one of the most like apparent things is that for Brandy's parents, he was nervous about meeting them, but for Kayla's family, he wasn't that nervous. And it's very obvious that the one you're nervous about is the one you care about the most in terms of messing it up, because you want it to work. The one you don't really care that much about, or are not as emotionally charged about, to me, that's the one you care less about. So that just speaks to where he is with both women. We've seen that episode after episode that he's more into Brandy. If they had to choose now, he'd probably choose Brandy, and they're just stringing Kayla along. And it's just really irritating to watch at this point, because there's really no suspense. There's no, I don't know which way it's gonna go, because we all know. And we're just trying to get Kayla to, you know, figure it out too, because we have. But then again, I understand Kayla's frustration, because I feel like when a woman likes you, right, and you confuse her by saying things like what Mike said, like he doesn't mind going into her family or being a part of her family, like that gives her a false sense of hope that maybe she is in the running and maybe she does have a viable chance, when you know she doesn't. Why say things like that if you know that she does not have any chance. And we as viewers know she has absolutely no chance. So giving false hope is definitely manipulative and it's not nice. This is too obvious at this point. Listen to another indicator that Brandy is gonna be the one he chooses. So they speak on Brandy and he talks about having to reassure her, right? He has to reassure her more. Now, his willingness to reassure her is what makes this a big deal. His reassurance to say, hey, we still have each other, we're still with each other, even though I'm speaking over here with Kayla, I still have you. That to me just speaks to the fact that that's who he's gonna pick. That alone, the fact that he chooses to reassure her. I never hear him really reassuring Kayla, and if he does reassure Kayla, he does it in the absence of Brandy. And some people were like, that looks like such shady behavior. He seems like he's gonna be the one to be with Brandy but then cheat on her. And yeah, it does very much appear that way. But I feel like he's only entertaining Kayla because I feel like a certain level of him thinks he has to still entertain her. And I also feel as if because she still likes him, he wants to like string her along to like keep the show going. But I think his choice is very clear. Now, Kayla, I thought you were smarter than that. Because the man said he has to reassure Brandy a bit more, you feel like that puts you at like a higher position than Brandy? It really does not. In actuality, I see it as making it more apparent that you're the one in the bottom. So that's just the nature of women. They try to grasp at anything because they need that guy to be interested in them, just like they're interested in the guy. But if it doesn't really give you that energy, you have to let it go. I feel like Kayla will end up hurting herself in the end, thinking she has a chance when she really doesn't. Randall is choosing Jamala, period. Like, there's really no confusion there. I feel like the problem is he just doesn't know how to be honest with people. And so the way to spare people's feelings is to drag them along even though you've already made your decision, which to me is not cool. But I feel like that's what he's gonna end up doing until the very last minute when he makes the decision that he's gonna choose Jamala. But we don't see any confusion as viewers. As viewers, we see you clearly want Jamala and you're just entertaining Kayla for the show. Mike, the same thing. So at this point, it's like we're over this back and forth. Like, just do the reunion already, because we already know how these things are gonna end up going. There's like literally no surprise. Mike is gonna choose Brandy, Randall is gonna choose Jamala, Kayla's gonna end up heartbroken in quotation marks and having to leave by herself. It's like, it's, how do you call that? It's not rocket science. She says her mind says Randall, but her JJ says Mike, essentially. Little does Kayla know, she really is not in the driver's position. She's not in a dominant position. So really she doesn't have the ability to choose, because as far as the men are concerned, she's not their top. She's their bottom. She's their second choice. So they're in the leadership position, not her. So to see her talking about she doesn't know who to choose, is like, girl, like at this point, you're talking crazy. Swayze and Kadian talk, and it just appears that they're in completely different places when it comes to communication styles. She's open, she's blunt, she says what she wants to say and feels like saying in the moment, whether it be offensive or not offensive. She's gonna let you know how she feels, whether her opinion is warranted, unwarranted, we have seen how Kadian is. Okay, we're very aware of Kadian and her communication style. Swayze, on the other hand, a jokester, doesn't really, is not as open, is not as comfortable with speaking about certain things as she is, gives very vague responses. Um, she is asking questions to know the real core question she wants to know, which is, what are we? You know what I'm saying? So, because she doesn't want to go directly and say, what are we? She's gonna go around it to try and feel what they are. Like, are they serious? Are they joking? Are they in love? In like, what is it? Like, she's trying to figure it out. And I feel like he is interested in her, and he just wants her to wait and like calm down until he is able to get to a level of comfort with her where he is able to be vulnerable. But I feel like she's pressuring him to do it now, and he's just simply not ready. So I just feel like it's a situation of he's not ready, but she is. He's not at a level of comfortability to share vulnerable things with her, and she is with him. So I just feel like it's just a conflict of time. I just feel like they need to just let time sort out that situation because it's new. Like, and it's more logical for me to take Swayze's side, because why should I be vulnerable with you? Like, I mean, this is a show. I don't know you. I don't even know if I really like you like that. Let's just take our time and figure it out like that. As opposed to, oh, the show is coming to an end. Tell me how you feel. Do you love me? Do you not? Do you want kids? Do you not? It's like, it's a lot. Give me a moment. Let me feel you out. Let me decide whether you're the right one for me. And then I'll let you know these things. Like, I feel like it's reasonable. So the women enter the women's lounge. I'm loving Kadian's outfit. It's super sexy. Let's see what they talk about. So that's what it is. Kadian wants a plan. And because Swayze is not sure about her, I guess 100% wise, it's hard for him to give her that, because I feel like there's a fine line. What if you give her that and then you decide, I don't like who she is as a person, so everything else becomes obsolete? I feel like that's his biggest issue. Like, he just wants to make sure first that he connects with her as a person, as an individual, gets to know her first, is comfortable in regards to where they are heading and stuff like that, before he decides to show her this plan. But in a sense, I feel as if he can still, there still can be a plan without him necessarily getting to know her, because he can always say, okay, let's get to know each other first, then if everything goes right, let's do this. Like, I feel like there still can be a plan. I just don't know why he's so hesitant. I just feel like, as he says, he's afraid to fail. So what if he gives a plan too prematurely, nothing goes as planned, and it becomes a failure? I think that's his biggest fear. As far as Kayla and Brandy is concerned, in regards to Mike, I Mike let her know everything that Mike let her know, yes, everything he said, and that he needs reassurance. Kayla does not, but I don't feel like that's gonna be the deciding factor in regards to who he picks. I still feel like he's gonna still pick Brandy, because, as Kayla's parents said, she has a side to her where it's like she's gonna speak her mind. And I don't think Mike wants a very outspoken type of woman, and I think he gets that from Kayla, which is why he's so hesitant about, or like not sure about whether he wants her or not. But with Brandy, she's more agreeable. Look at how she's already talking about like rearranging schedule and flying him out and all these things to reassure him that we're gonna be together, like, you know. So they're completely different women, and he's made his choice. So Miss Charisse is getting emotional about Samson. She doesn't know where they stand, because she feels like he's not being 100% honest with her. And I agree, he's not. And I feel like the core of that is he doesn't really like her that much, and he doesn't really see it for her. Because I feel like if you do like somebody, it's easy for you to be vulnerable around them. It's easy for you to just want to share yourself with them. But the way Samson is so generic, I feel like it's a defense mechanism because he's not that into Cherise. And then we get a bombshell that, according to Gideon, he was talking about how he's still interested in Gideon and he doesn't want her to leave. And I never saw that coming, so that kind of shocked me. And in regards to Brandy, he's like, when they had to do the group date to see his ex, it wasn't supposed to be Charisse there or Looney. It was just supposed to be her, which makes me feel like, so the show is who manufactured that meeting, because I assumed like the people choose who they want to meet their exes. So the way Samson spoke is almost as if they were just placed there to his like lack of knowledge, and that is crazy. So according to Brandy, it was only supposed to be her, and Charisse is there. Like, in hindsight, it's kind of embarrassing because she's talking about she's ready to fight for him. Whole time he's like, I really just wanted Brandy. That's crazy to me. That's so disingenuous and embarrassing. So Charisse brings up what she heard from the women, essentially that like he's not or have never made it known that it was gonna be Charisse, because it was not gonna be Charisse until it had to be Charisse. And then she is explaining it to him, and he's like, I'm not here to talk about these women, I'm here to talk about us. What about you? Like, there were so many red flags with you, and I think I spoke on it before. And instead of running away from those things, he ran towards it. And I don't think it's because he necessarily liked her the most or whatever the case is. I just feel like he saw her as a way for him to make it to the end. It's that simple. A lot of men like to make things seem like it was this big thing when it really wasn't, and they know it. And she knows it. She knows he doesn't like her, and now it's coming to a head. So Charisse tells him that he's not ready to love, meaning he's eliminated, which essentially means, well, indirectly, that Charisse is also eliminated because she has no other connection. So the only thing she can do is eliminate herself. Next episode. I don't know if she's gonna do it now or if she's gonna wait until next episode to do so, but either way, she's out. We don't see Charisse because she's gonna leave in the next episode, but we see Katie and Swayze still going through their drama. I just feel like they should just decide to take a break and date off the show, because this is not working. In regards to Brandy, Mike, I feel like that's who he's gonna end up picking. So whatever happens, that's who he's gonna go with. As far as Randall is concerned, I agree with Kayla. Like, you know who you want. Like, be man enough to just be honest. Like, it's that simple. And that is why I feel like a lot of these nice guys may not necessarily be able to communicate very well because they're cowards. They don't want to be honest because they're afraid of hurting people, but they don't realize that when you choose to keep things away from people to save them or to not hurt their feelings, you end up hurting their feelings, because then it's like you just have them hanging on to a possibility that is not a thing. So it's just really annoying seeing Randall still string people along. Like, just be honest. Like, the hell. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you felt about this particular episode. Like, subscribe, share if you'd like, and we'll talk about this another time. Bye bye, everyone.